Listen up, social media is going to be your biggest downfall, and you and I both know it. See, 30 years ago, it was cigarettes. Everyone did them, they seemed cool, they were acceptable, and then the health headlines came in. It causes rat poisoning, it can damage and destroy your health. It was linked to cancer. People then realized that cigarette smoking wasn't so cool and wasn't so safe. And what was quite interesting is when I grew up in school, especially high school, smoking cigarettes was seen as very uncool and not fun because it was then disguised as its later friend, the vape, where a lot of people did vape, they used to smoke the vape, thinking it's this cool new wave and not realizing that it causes some of these terrible health outcomes. But what if I told you that the next destructive tool is already here, and it's that device that you're using to watch this video? Because mark my words, social media consumption will be this generation's greatest downfall. See, I remember the pandemic like it was yesterday. I remember being in school and then getting that announcement on March 13th that we had 1 week off of school. Now, initially everyone was excited, they were thrilled. Imagine being in high school, getting told that you got to stay home for an extra week. But sooner or later, that 1 week turned into 2, then 4, and then it was an entire year from when we had to stay home from this global pandemic. Now, honestly, when this first hit, the first thing that happened to me was I got a lot of free time. I grew up playing soccer and my soccer was canceled. So now the two things that took a majority of my time, school and soccer, were both canceled, and that gave me a ton of time to just kind of do what I wanted to do. The issue was how I was initially spending that time. See, I remember waking up, scrolling on social media. I used to do these Snapchat streaks, so I would wake up in the morning, make sure I get all my streaks out, send them out to all these friends, and then I would spend some time on Instagram, then a few hours on YouTube, and then before I know it, every single day I was spending around 6 to 7 hours on these social media sites. But the scariest thing was how fast these hours were flying by. And you and I both know how this works. You spend a few hours doom scrolling, it feels like 20 minutes max, but then when you look at the clock, 2 hours has gone by in a heartbeat. And the worst part is you can't actually get those 2 hours back. See, wasting your time on social media isn't the same as like wasting your money on food. Let's say you lose a $10 bill. You're probably confident that you can get back another $10 bill through work. But once you waste multiple hours, days, or even months on social media, this is time that you will never get back. Now, one thing that I do pride myself on is once I realize that something is destroying my life, I'm pretty quick to come up with a game plan to fix it. And I know a lot of people aren't like this. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you the advice to just walk you through on how you can break this addiction, reclaim your life, and use social media effectively rather than letting it use you. Because I'm not going to tell you to delete all your apps, go ghost off social media, because trust me, I understand that social media is an important part of your life. It's how you keep up with some of your friends who you haven't seen in years. It's how you stay up to date with some current events that are going on, or it's even how you find out about certain opportunities that are going on around you. But the problem is it's currently using you, and you know that you need to change. I also have exciting news for all my high performers that I'm in the process of launching my brand new community. So if you're interested and you want early access, click the first link in the description. It's going to take you through a form, and this will allow me to inform you once this community is live. Now back to the video. The first stage that you have to beat on this journey is the no phone before you wake up. Now let me elaborate. See, like I mentioned before, in the past I would wake up, go on my phone on social media and scroll. And the issue with this is I would spend 1 to 2 hours on my day. This is me replying to people from the following day. This is me sending out streaks on Snapchat, and this is me just scrolling on social media. This is probably one of the worst things you can do to start your day. Early in the morning is when you start to build your momentum. This is when your brain is the most sharp, it's the most fresh, and you typically have the cognitive energy to attack any problem you throw at yourself. But the issue is as you reach for your phone, you're basically hijacking your dopamine receptors and giving yourself false senses of pleasure. Then it's going to make the later parts of the day much more difficult. Like when you have to lock into a deep work session, or when you have to read that book, and this is going to make the later parts of your day much more difficult because you started off with something that was high in dopamine. So then now when you have to go do your homework, read, go to work, it's not going to feel as enjoyable. These tasks are going to feel extremely mundane, and they're not triggering that same sense of dopamine that you first got when you woke up and went on social media. Now, the reason why I said that this is one of the most dangerous habits that you can develop is because social media can really start to control your mood. Now, I saw this. I remember during the pandemic, there is a ton of protests going on, and when I woke up first thing in the morning and scrolled on my phone on social media, I noticed that my mood started to change based on what was being posted on social media. If I found out some young kid got killed in this crazy way, I would feel affected. If I found out there was just negativity going on, I would also be affected. And what you have to understand is social media thrives off your emotions. It thrives off negativity. This is why we see so many content creators who have controversial opinions blow up in a heartbeat. Like, trust me guys, if I started talking about the most craziest, audacious things on social media, I'm well aware that I would blow up much faster. But that's not the purpose of this channel. My purpose is to serve you, a high performer, and this is what gives me the true sense of fulfillment. But when you start your day off going on social media, your mood is going to be dictated by the algorithm. Now, this is scary because you won't be in control of your own thoughts. And I don't want this to be any of you. So this is stage number 1 on your journey. You need to cut out social media in the morning. Replace that with making your bed, setting a plan for the day, journaling. There's so many tasks. The list goes on, and I can dive much deeper into this topic, but I want you to understand that the morning is your sacred time. You know, I read a lot, and one of the books I read was Eat the Frog. And the thesis of this book is really that in the morning, you want to tackle your most difficult task. You want to start your day off with something that's purposeful and that will guide you forward. And trust me, that's not social media, because as you use social media in the morning, it starts to kill your momentum. It lowers your drive and your ambition, and it's really going to make it harder for you to accomplish what you need to accomplish throughout the day. And the last thing I'll say on this is that first hour when you wake up will go by like this if you use it spending your time scrolling on social media. I'm so passionate about this specific phase because if you are still in this phase, this has zero benefit to you. Okay, hopefully most of you are past the stage or working through the stage, but now we have to enter into stage 2, and this is the trap that a lot of people fall into. It's when you typically use social media to either reset your day from a long day of boredom or just use it in between intervals just to feel something throughout your day. It's the people who are scrolling their phone on social media excessively when they're on the commute to work or on a train. It's the people who, whenever they get a break to the bathroom, the first thing they do is scroll on social media just to feel that dopamine rush. It's the people after a long day of work or school, the first thing they want to do is just sit on the couch and scroll on their phone for hours. Now, this phase is extremely important because I can guarantee a lot of you watching this are still in that phase. The scary part about that phase is it feels harmless when you're in it. Oh, what's 1 hour or 2 hours when you're scrolling on social media? I had a long day at work and school. I deserve a break. These are things we all told ourselves, but let me give you some data that will scare you. So as I look at my computer right now, this is the phase that most people are in and very few break out of. So let's unpack the data and unravel why this phase is so crucial to break out of. So if someone finishes school or work and spends 4 hours a day scrolling TikTok, doom scrolling on Instagram, watching short form clips on YouTube, consuming drama, news, celebrity gossip, or worse, comparing themselves to other people, and if they do this for 5 to 10 years, you're not just wasting time. The worst thing that you're doing is you're training your brain to develop a shorter attention span, lower discomfort tolerance. You're not going to be able to focus as well. You're going to have fragmented thinking, and you're going to fall in the trap of being a passive consumer instead of an active producer of your own life. Now, what makes this worse is these habits compound, and let me break it down to you. See, if you do this 4 hours a day, this will equate to 28 hours a week, almost 1,400 hours per year, and that can lead up to more than 14,000 hours in just 10 years. So I want to, just for some comparison, this is equivalent to you getting multiple university degrees, building high income skills, building a business, learning a new language, becoming elite in your physical fitness, reading hundreds of books, or even building a true and strong network that will drive your growth. And like I mentioned before, when you're doing things like scrolling on social media, initially it feels harmless. Like you don't see any immediate consequences. You might feel a little bit of guilt and shame, but you'll say you'll lock in and you won't do it again. But the problem today is that these algorithms are designed in a way to truly take away from your focus. I remember when Instagram didn't have the infinite scroll and you could actually reach the end of your feed. Now, your algorithms are specifically tailored to what you watch. Like for example, at the time of this recording, Drake just dropped this brand new album, and I'm not gonna lie, I was reading a couple posts, following along what's going on, and now all over my feed, I'm seeing Drake this, Drake that, and don't get me wrong, he's a great artist, but my algorithm is being curated to show me things that it thinks that I wanna see so that I can spend more time on these apps. I'm telling you, these apps do not care about you. They do not care about your dreams and goals. They wanna extract all your time so that when advertisers pay to be on these social media platforms, these apps can profit tremendously. What's so scary about some of these apps is you realize the reason why these apps are free is because you and I are both the products. I want you to think about it. When you go to the store to buy food or you want to buy a brand new pair of shoes, you spend money to pay for the product, the service, the shoes, the food, etc. But think about why these social media apps are free. It's because you are the product. Business owners sell their services to you because your eyeballs are the product. Once you start to understand that, you realize that you're being tricked into this game. And another thing I want you to understand is that social media leverages something very powerful in psychology, which is a variable reward system. This is the same system that is used within casinos and slot machines to get you hooked. This is the reason why so many people are addicted to gambling, because they're looking for that variable reward system. Like I want you to think about that time when you were in a deep social media doom scroll. You were continuously looking at your phone, going down this deep rabbit hole because you were hoping you were going to find that one video that made you laugh, or that one news that really changed your perspective. And trust me, maybe after 45 minutes or an hour, you finally found that video. But again, social media is leveraging the variable reward system perfectly, because remember, the more time you spend on the apps, the more social media can sell their products and services to you, because you are the product. And if you're watching a video like this early, I want this to be a reminder, not something that gives you shame and guilt for how you've been spending your time, but a reminder on how you can be more effective. Remember, you are a high performer. You have goals to reach. You have a potential to pursue. We are not going to be like the rest of the population that falls victim to this trap that social media has set for us. And the last thing I want to touch on, especially within the second stage, is these apps do not care about your goals. They do not care about your sleep. They do not care about your focus. They don't even care about your identity nor the future that you're building. And I get so passionate about these videos because I care and I want you to be great. And once I got really clear on this and I really deeply understood what social media was doing and how to use it actually effectively, this is how I reclaimed my life back. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did it step by step, with each step getting more complex. So let's get right into it. Okay, so level number 1 is grayscale. Now, grayscale is a feature that many phones have, and it's essentially when your screen goes black and white. Now, the research behind this is pretty self-explanatory. Once you change your phone from black and white, studies have shown that there's been a reduction up to 50 minutes a day just on your phone usage alone. Now, me personally, I've done this. I've put grayscale on my phone, and funny enough, I actually have a button on my phone where if I tap it 3 times, my phone goes completely gray, so that whenever I have to lock in and dedicate my focus towards my goals, I know exactly how I can do that. Now, it's very simple. You can follow some YouTube tutorials. I'll even put it on screen for my iPhone users on how you can go about doing this, but grayscale will be your first barrier to entry. Now, what's gonna happen when you first put your phone on grayscale is it's going to feel extremely uncomfortable. At first, you might think, oh, this is kind of cool. I like the gray and white and it feels kind of fun. But when you start going on your social media, when you wanna check out a YouTube video, it's not gonna give you that same sense of dopamine. Like, have you ever seen those toddlers when they have to watch their cartoons and their colorful shows? They are hooked to these devices. Why? Not because the animations are so perfect or that little cute baby's talking to them in a language that they can understand. No, it's the colors. The colors are able to trigger their dopamine receptors and get them really hooked in on what they're watching. I think about my own baby cousin. I see when she's on her iPad and she's looking at some videos, she is hooked because these colors are so vibrant, they're so enticing, and that's what social media leverages. So by implementing the grayscale feature, you're counteracting that mechanism, and trust me, it's gonna make you be way more effective on your phone. And see, when I did this, I was able to use my phone for what it was intended to use. Quick texts, quick calls, maybe doing the odd task here and there, and then getting right off my phone. Spending hours and hours on my phone wasn't enjoyable anymore, and I was using that time to be more effective and productive. And the best part about this is it started to ripple effect in other areas of my life. My workouts were more efficient, my deep work sessions were more focused, and overall, I just felt sharper as a whole. Now, if you're getting value out of this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. This helps the channel grow to greater and better things, and it would mean a lot. And as we dive into the second framework, this is called time frames. Now, this is what I did all throughout university, and I really attribute to this for me being hyper productive and hyper focused. And essentially what this is when you create your own time frame on how you will use social media. So when I first did this, I started off with just saying I am not allowed to use social media until after 12 p.m. or noon. Now, this was great because, like I mentioned before, I stopped using social media in the morning. It gave me some morning time to do some deep work, but then I realized, wait a minute, I could actually push this back a little bit further. So then I changed it to I'm not going to use social media until after 6 p.m. And this is when the game changer came in. I realized that when I woke up early and I got through all my work, this is when the transformation happened. I was focused during my classes. When all my other classmates were in the lecture hall scrolling before their classes or when they're waiting in line, I was much more dialed in for my lectures. On top of that, I started to break that urge that I had. You know that urge when you want to pick up your phone and start scrolling on social media? Over time, when I created these time frames, that urge started to go away. There was no immediate urge to wake up early in the morning and go on my social media. That time got filled with effective deep work sessions. It allowed me to go to my classes and my meetings with my full attention. And what I really enjoyed was these tasks actually seemed enjoyable. Like, I was actually looking forward to go to my lectures. I was looking forward to opening that book and reading because my brain wasn't hijacked from all that dopamine earlier on that so many people were suffering with. So I was able to get through those mundane, boring tasks at a much quicker rate. And on top of that, those boring tasks became less boring. Now, everyone's living different lives. You have different responsibilities and different allocations of your time. But what I'm suggesting for you in this video is to create a time frame for when you'll start using your social media. It can be 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 1 p.m. But once you create that time, I want you to stick with it. And trust me, like all growth, at first it might feel a little uncomfortable. You might have this tendency to just use it, but that's where growth happens. All right, so I'm saving the more advanced tips for all of you who are still watching. And now we're getting into the very intricate things. So as most of you may know, this is when you start setting time limits on your apps. But hold on for a second. So I first started doing this on my phone, and this is when I created the system of how long I want to spend on each app every single day. And then what your phone will do is once that app is approaching its time limit, it will come up with a screen saying you've reached a time limit for today. Now, the big problem with this is your phone will create this time limit, and then right below it, it will say ignore this time limit for the day. And it'll give you this option of 1 minute, 15 minutes, or for the entire day. Now, at first it was effective for me, but what I constantly kept doing was I would just click 15 minutes and then 15 minutes again. And you're probably nodding your head saying, yeah, I've done the same thing quite a few times. And then what your brain is realizing is this is not really a time limit. What it is just a small barrier that I have to click just to get back on and keep on scrolling. So I took this a step further and and I found out this app called Opal, and it truly transformed the game for me. Now, I'm not sponsored by Opal, but hey, if they want to do something, my email is down below. But what I will say is this app is extremely powerful. Now, it's not free, unfortunately, but how it works is it's essentially a time blocking app, but way more advanced than the ones that are just set up on your phone. You can create your own time blocks of when you want to block social media. So what I told you earlier in the steps, you can create your own time frames and fall within them. And then from there, Opal will block your apps when you need to be focused and doing your work. Now, there's something about these Opal blocks that make it really hard for you to even get on the app once you set these blocks. And you can use these blocks to be very effective, because I realized for myself, I found myself scrolling on social media between the hours of 9 to 11 p.m. at night. So what I did was I created this Opal block around it so that now if I want to go on my phone at those later hours of the night, I wouldn't be able to. And like I said, you can do the same thing. Maybe it's that 12 to 2 a.m. doom scroll that you're falling into, or maybe it's the morning. Whatever the case may be, you can create these Opal blocks around the apps that distract you the most. And I don't know what it is, but once I have to pay that monthly subscription, I know I want to get the most out of this app. This app is going to give you statistics about how much hours you've reduced throughout the weeks. And what I'm seeing is I'm seeing this gradual reduction in the amount of time I'm spending on these apps. And the best part about it is this is how I slowly start to reclaim back my life. This gave me the confidence. This gave me more intentionality with people that I love and I care about. But I want to make something very clear. See, if you're listening to what I'm saying and you're going to go ahead and implement what I'm going to share with you, there will be a transformational change that occurs. But you're going to run into one very important issue here. See, you're going to have a lot more time that's freed up, but how you use that time is very important. Do not be the person that frees up all their time and then starts falling into bad vices that are not serving their goals. If you're watching a video like this, you have goals to fulfill. You have a potential to reach. And now that you have this additional time that is freed up, you can use it more effectively to go towards your goals. And even though I currently have a pretty packed schedule, working a job, navigating relationships, posting content for all of you, and building out an amazing community, link in the description, I really want you to get clear on how you are using this time. You should have objectives, goals, and small metrics that you can use every single day forward to push you towards that person that you want to become. Because one thing I know to be true is once you have a bunch of free time, this is when you can actually fall into temptation and bad habits. And when you start to implement everything I shared, you're going to get a lot of free time back. But it's what you do with that free time that truly matters. This is where the separation becomes in. And I promise you, once you start to integrate these practices year after year, you're going to compound into a completely different person. Someone who you're proud of, someone who inspires others to go after their goals and reaches their highest potential. And like I said before, the best part about this process is you are going to reclaim your life. You're going to find beauty in the small things. You're going to have deeper connections, deeper relationships, more meaningful opportunities. You're going to have a more rich perspective of life, and you're not going to get bored of those slight mundane tasks. And this is where you start to build something special. This is where you become the person who you were always meant to be. All right, everyone. So that is it for this video. If you got any value, make sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. First link in the description for the brand new community that I'm building out. And I'll be sending you all the information once it's built. So go check it out. And you know what I always say, make sure to always believe that you will achieve. My name is Miles. I'm your high performance coach, and I'm signing off. Woo!